Okay, hello everyone. My name is Salah. Today I'll be talking about stability and robustness in human manipulation of dynamically complex objects. And when I say complex objects, I mean specifically objects that have dynamics that are underactuated, nonlinear, and sometimes even chaotic. We as human beings can, easily physically interact with such objects despite us having long feedback delays in our human neuromotor system. We have a limited actuator bandwidth, but despite all these, inferior characteristics that we have when compared to robots, we still outperform robots. And the question is, how are we able to do that? It's probably unlikely that we rely on feedback control due to the long delays that we have in our neuromotor system. Also thinking that we probably maybe rely on precise model-based control. So we have some precise model of these objects seems daunting for the human brain. So what we propose is that humans seek stability in these physical interactions because stability affords robustness to external perturbations, robustness to any variability in initial conditions which might arise due to the intrinsic noise in our human neuromotor system. And stability gives us some form of predictability of these interactions. But then the key question is, how do we assess stability in complex human movements? All the existing stability analysis methods that have been proposed for human movements are not applicable, mainly because the movements that we observe in these physically interactive tasks, they do not occur at a fixed point. They are not periodic in nature most of the time. So Lyapunov exponents and Floquet multipliers are not applicable. And what we propose to use is to use a framework called contraction analysis, which allows us to assess stability on a trajectory basis level. More specifically, what we propose is to leverage the concept of control contraction metrics. So within the framework of contraction analysis, you can look for these control contraction metrics which guarantee the existence of an exponentially stabilizing controller. The nice thing is that you can search for such a control contraction metric by casting the problem as a sums of squares optimization problem. There are a lot of tools that we can easily solve such a problem. And then the key idea that we're proposing is once you find that control contraction metric and write down the controller associated to that metric, you can then compare the human control input that we've collected in some human experiment and ask the question, is the human control policy actively seeking to stabilize, exponentially stabilize the trajectories? So the task that we looked at is motivated by how humans transport a cup of coffee. And for simplicity, for tractability of analysis, we reduced that to looking at how humans manipulate a cup with a ball. And then in simulation, we reduce it to just the well-known card pendulum system. And the way we do it is that we virtually simulate this card pendulum system in a virtual environment, and the human subject can interact with this virtual object through a robotic manipulandum. This robotic manipulandum provides haptic feedback. And the task is we ask the subjects to move this cup and ball system from the start box on the left in this video to the target box on the right as fast as possible and without losing the ball. And then in some blocks, we introduce perturbations which act as a perturbative force on the cart that could either push the cart towards the start box or towards the target box. So they either act against the direction of motion or with the direction of motion. And just very quickly on the results did confirm our hypothesis that humans sought stability. More importantly, stability helped them perform better. So recall that we told them we want you to be as fast as possible. And we noticed that the faster the movement was, the more contracting segments there were in the movement. And that contraction allowed for such a faster movement because the trajectory was robust to the perturbation that the humans faced, and hence it allowed them to attenuate the effects of that perturbation. So in conclusion, in this specific task, we were able to show that humans seek exponential convergence. We showed that in addition to using contraction metrics to design controllers, we can use them to assess stability in human movements. And if you would like more information, please visit my talk and the conference. Also, for more exciting work on human manipulation of complex objects. My colleague in my lab, Rashida Naeem, is also presenting another paper on that as well. And finally, I would like to thank my supervisor, Dagmar Sternad, and all my lab members and all our funding agencies. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.